afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Phases the Next Level, Black is Magazine. We are so excited to be here today. We have Jay Davis here from Kansas City, Kansas, where my people are from. And so we're excited about having him here. As you guys know, we are creating a brand new magazine, Black Is, and it is all about justice, equality for everyone. We're about all of humanity. So I was introduced to Jay by my cousin who also lives in Kansas City, and she had a lot of good things to say about you, Jay. And so I was on it. I said, let's get us connected, because it's all about peace. It's all about involving everybody. It's all about, like, we have so much against us that we need to find some light in it. And so that's my mission. So Jay, I want you, if you will, go ahead and introduce to everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Jay Davis. I'm the CEO of Self-Made Gear, Positive Lifestyle Clothing, and also I have a ladies brand called the Pink Dove Collection, and I'm based out of Kansas City. I'm from Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, but now I live in Olathe, Kansas. And my mission is to promote peace, share positivity, and show everybody how to come together and live the lifestyle in a positive way, y'all. So, Jay Davis, y'all.
Exactly what you're saying is exactly what I stand for, what my brand is about. So, Jay, I want to start with, and my family, I want to shout out to Cynthia Ellison, who is my cousin, who lives in Kansas City, who is from Wyandotte County, and thank you for connecting us. Let's talk about growing up, and I want to talk about, there was an interview that you shared with me, and it was about how you were younger and how you kind of got in some trouble. And basically, are you willing to share that part of your life?
Yes, I'm willing. That's the whole purpose of me starting a brand and trying to get the message out and promote peace.
Okay. So can you kind of walk us through what happened? Because you were young when this happened.
Yeah, I was 14 years old, and I was running around with the bad crowd. And you know, when your parents say, don't do this, don't do that, you're always curious to why. Yep. You want to try it and figure it out anyway. So I made a bad decision with a group of friends, and it turned out pretty bad. And we was coming home from school one day, and a friend of mine dared me. We had I used to play the dare game, the dare and everything. And the dare turned into a really bad decision. And I went to jail, I went to custody, but I didn't really get into that much trouble because everything was dropped. But the TFR2, I'm wearing this Think First, React Second, because when I made the bad decision, I didn't think. I just reacted, and the outcome almost gave me manslaughter. And I was 14 years old, and I'm so proud and so glad that the young man pulled through. That's how the TFR2 started, because I was just reacting on impulse, trying to be cool, trying to be fun, and running around the wrong crowd. And I was the smallest guy, but the biggest guy. I'm glad that the young man pulled through. And that's the story on the TFR2. The Think First, React Second.
I love that. I think that a lot of times that we, the reason that we bring problems on ourselves is that we just react first. We don't think about the consequences. We don't think about other people's lives. We don't think about that not only are we hurting ourselves, but we're hurting our family. So we don't think about that. We just react. And what's so important about your story is that I have a teenage son, and this is his story to tell, so I won't go in depth, but it was with a gun, shot somebody, reacted before he even thought, and thank God the person lived. So I'm going to make sure that he hears your story.
And parts of my story that I'm going to add some more detail to it is, like I was saying, we was coming from school one day in a dare, and like I said, I was the big guy. I was the guy that had the short fuse. And anytime we had an issue, I was the one that'd be like, "Oh, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. I'll get him. I'll take care of it." So we was coming home, and it was a guy from school that we knew from school, and I was like, "I'm about to knock him out." My mind was, I'm gonna knock him out, and it was for no apparent reason. I mean, it was just one of them. I was that guy, and I was the one that didn't play, didn't take nothing from anybody. But it was time that I had to learn which battles to choose and which battles to battle. So it was like, so I took the punch, and when I threw the punch, the guy fell and he went into a seizure. And when he went into a seizure, the guys that I was with was like, we got to help him. And then my conscience was saying, there's no way I can commit that and then lay down and then help this guy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave. So I left. I left the scene, got all the way home. And when I got home, my mom always knew every good and bad thing that I've done. And to this day, it's weird because I'm a parent now, and I'm like, now I understand it. But when I got home, my mom said, I walked in the house and I spoke to my mom and I went straight to my room. And she knew something was wrong because I don't come in to be nonchalant and non-social and just go straight in. So she came to my room and asked me, she said, what did you do? And I looked and I was like, I didn't do nothing. And then she knew, just like the typical parent, she knew. So she always raised us. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. She always raised us. If you tough enough to go out and commit a crime, don't run from the scene. If you did it intentionally, you did it for a reason. You shouldn't have to run from a scene if you did it to protect yourself or to defend yourself. But if you running, it's because you know you done something incorrect. So I ran. When I got home, she said, she always told us, if you ever come here and something you done wrong, you ran or anything like that, I'm going to put you out. So as a kid, I'm like, oh, okay, you know, your parents, I'm like, oh, she wouldn't do such a thing. So she came in and like I said, she asked me what I done, and I said nothing. So she said, if you done nothing, you can go back out this door. So she came in, she told me to give her my house keys, and we was heading to the door. I'll never forget. We was heading to the door, and she said, if I open this door and somebody blow your head off, I'm gonna have to deal with your funeral. Because she said, you know, we wasn't raised to run. We wasn't raised to go out and commit crimes and just to be hurting or doing anything to nobody. And I stood there, and of course, I was upset about it at the time. But she was like, if we open this door, whoever's behind this door, whatever's behind this door, you're going to be a man and face it. So when we opened the door, I stepped out our apartment, and it was probably like 10 or 11 police officers running around in our apartment building.
Looking for you.
Yeah, trying to find which apartment I went into. By the time I opened the door, I stepped out, and the first cop seen me, and he tackled me to the ground. And when he tackled me to the ground, I turned over and looked up at the door, my apartment door, and my mom looked down at me and shut the door.
That's the worst feeling.
Yeah. And that moment, I was so upset. I was so upset. And then as they picked me up, got me cuffed, and got me in the car, I started thinking in my head, I was like, I can't be mad at nobody but myself, because she told me, she been raising us this way to understand, if I'm man enough to go out and commit it, I'm man enough to face it. So like I said, at first I was upset, but by the time I got down to the police station, I was like over it. And I was like, I'm ready. I was like, it is what it is. I done it. I committed it. And at the time, I didn't even care I didn't have no feeling behind it. I was numb behind it.
Yeah.
So by the time they got in, and one of the detectives had told me, you know, you facing manslaughter. And I was like, I don't even know what manslaughter is. So he went and got a dictionary and gave me a dictionary and said, here, find it and figure it out. I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was in for a little while. And in my head, I was like, oh, I'm a minor, so my mom would be able to come get me. And long story short, just to speed it up a little bit, I got out of there. And then the guy that I done that to, he was in a coma for 4 months. Yeah, so he was in a coma for 4 months. And I knew him from school, but I didn't know him like, hey, I didn't know him that well, but I've seen him around school. But went to trial a little bit, and then his mom told us, if my son pulled through, I'm not pressing charges. She said, if he pulled through, I'm not pressing any charges. They kids, they young or whatever, they just made a bad decision. So for like a little bit under 4 months later, he pulled through. And the hardest part, his mom said, my son pulled through. All I want you to do is explain to him what happened because he didn't realize what happened.
Wow.
So that was the hardest part for me, is trying to explain to him what I've done. And if I didn't do that, she was gonna press charges.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that was a blessing. That was like you was protected. He was protected.
So she set it up, and me and him, I had to go talk to him, and that was, like I said, that was the hardest part about it all, besides understanding what I'd done to a person that had no clue. I mean, he done nothing wrong to me. He done nothing. I was just, like I said, I was the hothead. I was the one that wasn't scared to do none of that kind of stuff. And it was like, I just got lucky to get away from a lot of bad things that I've done. And like I said, this CFR 2, that's where it started at. And in 2014, this happened when I was 14. And in 2014 is when I created the brand. I've been wanting to put something on there so I can stamp something and I can get the message out slowly through everybody that I come in contact with. And the first thing came to me was my motto. I got that tattooed on me. Think first, react second. Because everybody, like you said, everybody get out there and just want to get out there and just be tough. Everybody want to sell drugs. Everybody want to do it. It's a lot of stuff that happens that comes with just a response and the action. I mean, if you think through it, you can make a good decision and a bad decision. But I'm telling you, if you think about it first, that good decision to come in front of it, but it's still your choice to make the right one.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's what you're going to do. You still can think about it, but what are you going to do with what you know is right? We're trying to put together, with the COVID and everything, but trying to put a stop the gun violence on, and we're just up the street from you. Hopefully you could be a part of that, because you have a story to tell. And these guys are, there's nothing for them to do if they're not working, going to school, or get away. They're getting into trouble. Idle time causes trouble. And it's because they don't think. And then when the consequences comes, like, oh my God, I wish I wouldn't have done it. Right. But if you think first and react second, you might can save yourself.
It's a lot of people that's incarcerated right now that I know, and that people that got out that sit and say, man, if I would have really thought about it, that my whole life, the whole direction, the whole process would be totally different. But like you said, it's the impulse reaction, and then your peers. Your peers got a lot to do with it, believe it or not. People say, oh, I'm my own man, I'm a lead, but trust me, your peers got a lot to do with it.
Right. I always tell my son, you don't have to prove to anyone that you're tough.
Right.
You're not a punk. You ain't scared. It doesn't matter what they think. You know who you are. So we don't have to put on a facade for people. We have to be who we are and do what's right, and all keep God first, and you can avoid a lot of that stuff. Right. And so anyway, I love the story. I had no clue. I knew that I listened to that and I kind of followed you. I'm busy like you are, but I kind of was looking at some of the things that you've done. So that brings me to my next question. After all of that, that you went through, I understand the reason why you're doing what you do now. But in the transition of the guy coming out of a coma, 2014, you created the brand. What's next? What were the obstacles for that? Because it wasn't just an easy ride to get where you are today. So what were some of the obstacles?
It was a lot of obstacles. Okay, well, I lost my mom in 2016. I lost her. I was 16 years old, and she sat down and died, had a heart attack right in front of me, and I didn't even realize what was going on. So she asked me to stay home from school on that day. It was the weirdest thing ever. She asked me to stay home, and I didn't like staying home. I like to go to school just to be around everybody, but she asked me to stay home, and what typical kids say, no, I don't want to stay home. I was like, yeah, I want to stay. So I stayed home, and we left and went to the grocery store on Parallel. Yep. And I came back, and she sat down in our hallway, because I used to live in Crestwood Apartments. Uh-huh. She sat down in our hallway and had a heart attack and died right there.
Just you and her?
Yeah, just me and her. And then the lady, it was her friend that she was talking to upstairs. She came out, and I had no clue what was going on, besides she just sitting there with a smile on her face. She had a really big grin on her face, so I didn't even think nothing of it. It took me a while to register that she really passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So that's hard to lose a parent. I lost my father. He had a heart attack right in front of me. I'm trying to pull him and trying to say what's wrong, and that's hard. And it's hard to for me, it was hard to say, what could I have done different to maybe save him or help him more? I didn't know what to do. I was in a panic.
Right.
So it's hard to deal with. So you had to deal with that now. So
Yeah.
where did you put all your energy in? What happened after the death of your mother?
So what happened after that was I told myself I have to do something to show people that life is precious. And like it took me like a month later to really register that she wasn't coming back. I used to get out of school and then go back to our old apartment, pull up in front of there and be like, oh, I forgot. About a month later, it registered. But after that happened, like I said, it just made me want to really, really, really push something on, push people to get some people to start thinking in a positive way. So I got a cousin of mine that started a brand that's called Sky's Clothing. And I went to visit him one weekend and he had the t-shirts and stuff done. I'm like, I like that. That's pretty cool. And I was like, well, maybe I can do that. I can put my name, my ideas, my quotes, or my some type of messages, everything that pop in my head on t-shirts. So I got with him and kind of talked to him about it. And he was kind of like giving me a little bit of the breakdowns on how it worked. But he didn't give me the start of it. Like, what did I need? What I need to do?
Right.
So I kind of prolonged it. I mean, I kind of pushed it off. I pushed it off through high school, pushed it off. So I had a ATV accident. Yeah. I was riding ATV, me and a couple friends of mine, and my wife and my kids, we was out riding a four-wheeler, and I had a really bad four-wheeler accident. I ripped my right foot 96% off. Woo. Yeah, I was laying in the park, and it was the weirdest thing ever. I've never broken any bones besides fingers, little stuff like that, but I looked down and my foot was dangling.
Oh.
Yeah, and this was in 2014. So when after that happened, I was laying in the ER. I was waiting for surgery and waiting and everything. And they sent me from one hospital and they sent me home because they said the swelling and everything was bad. So they had to turn my foot, get my foot stable, and they sent me home. So they sent me home and told me to, when I get home, wait a couple of days for the swelling to go down so I can go see about surgery.
Right.
So the whole time after surgery, I went through surgery and everything was fine. And then when I got home, I was laying in my bed, nothing to do, just sitting. And I was like, something just came on me and said, start this brand. Start the brand. And yeah. I was laying in my bed. I didn't have no software. I didn't have anything to start with. Only thing I had was Microsoft Paint on my laptop. So like I said, my whole motto, think first, react second, that always been on me, always been in me. So I was like, what can I call it? I mean, I went through tons of names. Everything sounded so weird. Mm-hmm. Everything sounded so out of order. And then I said to myself, self-made gear. Yeah. And then I started laughing and I was like, man, that's weird too. So I got on my computer and I started just designing little stuff, just messing around on Microsoft Paint. And my whole motto, like I said, my TFR2, but I'm curious. I'm always questioning everything I don't understand. Right. If there's something there that I see that I'm like, what is that? I want to know how it was made, why it was made, and what's the purpose of it. Right. So to come with that, it popped up in my head, question mark. My mom used to call me curious all the time because I questioned everything. Right. I used to get on her nerves because I asked her, why? What is this? What is that? So I came up with my question mark. My question mark is my logo. The question mark on there stands for curious, and the self-made stand for me. Right. Me, because I get to a point where every fabric, every stitch, everything that's created is self-made. I don't know how to sew yet. I don't know how to sew or anything yet, but like I said, the whole drive is self-made gear, positive lifestyle clothing, so that I could promote peace and everything. And eventually, I want everything to be self-made. Wow. So I started off with the t-shirts, and I'm still pushing the t-shirts. But believe it or not, it is so hard to get support from people because it's positive. Yeah. And I say that all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And like people say, it's a lot of people that I know that support me, follow me, but they don't shop with me. They say they love it, but they support it, they like it, they this, they that, but they don't shop. I mean, a lot of people, oh, I like that. You know how you go to an event, oh, I like that, but they won't shop with me. But about 90 about 94, 95% of my support is outside of Kansas City. And I'm from Kansas City.
That's crazy.
I'm here, born and raised in Kansas City. It's like I can say out of my family, four people out of my family has purchased product from me.
That's crazy.
And the majority of the people who shop with me, I have no clue who they are. And they online. Like, I mean, I get a lot of love and support from Facebook and a lot of people online, but I ship all over now. So I mean, like I get a lot of love in Florida. Yeah. California starting to work with me. I get a lot of love outside of Kansas City. I mean, I get tons of love.
It's sad. I'm going to tell you why. And I so feel your pain, like where I feel what you're saying, because I'm going to give you an example. I was covering a story that was really kind of turned really grimy. But I got like so much support on that channel. Like it was like over 8,000 people on the channel because of that story. It wasn't peaceful. It wasn't about doing what's right. It wasn't about building your career and building yourself to be better. It was all about madness, right?
Right.
Tons of love. I could say, okay, no, that's not who it is. It's tainting my spirit. That's not who I am, right? So let's rebrand. Let's do it different. And people say, oh, good job. Oh, I like what you're doing. Oh, really? And I can't even, I'm like, you do? Do you really? So I did a video about that, you know, people who support you. So I say that to say this because you can so easily get discouraged in what you're doing when you don't have the support that you think that you should have. But you got to keep going because the people that you think would support you really are not going to support you the way that you think they should. And it's nothing against them. It's not, don't make them bad people. It's just they're not supporting you like you thought they would. But guess what? Like you said, California, Florida, other people will support you. The support will come if you stay committed. And that's that's what I try to say when we talk about entrepreneurship and building a business. You got to stay committed. You got to sacrifice, and you got, no matter if it's just you standing, you got to do it. You're just a prime example of what I've been trying to yell at people. You can't quit because people, I expect more of my family to support me. I expect friends to support me. They don't, right?
It's so many times I'm like, man, I'm gonna be done with this. I'm gonna stop this because of the lack of support. And then at the end of the day, honestly, and like I tell everybody, I don't do this to get rich off of this. I'm being straight honest. Of course, it's a business. Of course, it's, you know what I mean? It's a business. Everybody want what they create, they craft to take off to the next level. I get it. But my number one mission is to get my message out. And if anybody follow me on social media, from the Pink Dove Collection to my self-made gear on Instagram or Facebook, my Positive Circle group, I got a group on Facebook, the Positive Circle, even my Chiefs fans, if anyone get on my Instagram, Facebook, any of my social medias, that's all I do.
Yeah.
This is who I am. Like I tell people, I don't do this for, oh, I want people to like me. I want people to know who I am. That don't matter to me. That adds no value to me. My value is helping somebody smile each day. So when I get on there and I do my random videos, I be on my way to work or driving down the highway, and a message will pop up in my head. I will stop and pull over and say my message. Yes. And I get people all the time be like, how do you not stumble over your words? I'm like, because I'm speaking from the heart. This ain't nothing I create. I'm not creating. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say this and I'm not going to say that. Not. What comes out is what it is. That's real. It's not, I'm not doing nothing. Like I said, nothing for nobody's, hey, that guy, no. This is who I am. This is literally who I am.
I believe in God, and I believe that he gives us all a gift. And I believe that every person walking this earth has some kind of gift. I believe there are people that have it, that want to get it out, don't know how to get it out. But like you, I will I will pour into my business, and I will always do that. Whether I have 2 people to support me or 22,000 people to support me, it don't matter. If I'm doing what's right and what's good, and I'm giving people advice that'll help them and not hurt them, that's what matters to me. If I'm giving them what God has put in me and I'm bringing that out and giving them good, and I'm sharing and I'm trying to lift somebody's spirits and I'm trying to help them grow and be better, that's all that matters at that point. But I want to go back a little bit You talked about your mom passing away, and you were still like you were 16.
Yes.
So that could have been another hurdle to get in trouble, to find things to get into you didn't have any business doing. Where did you
Okay.
live? Where did you have to go? And what kept you focused? Was it because you said, oh, my brand?
No, the brand thing didn't happen until the 2014. And this is like 1996 when my mom passed. But I got in a little bit of trouble after that. But I mean, it went from when I left there, my brother lived in Johnson County.
Yep.
So I didn't have a legal guardian. I didn't have any of that. My brother was my legal guardian. And he was doing this thing, and I was the little brother. So I transferred out of Schlegel High School to Shawnee Mission Northwest. When I transferred to Shawnee Mission Northwest, I was terrified just because I never been in a Caucasian school. So when I moved out here, I was terrified. I went to class, was scared to talk to people. I walked down the hallway, it was 4 that I can remember, 4 Black students that I can remember when I went there. And the number could be wrong, but 4 Black students that I knew. Mm-hmm. And I used to walk through the hall my first couple of days of school, and people would just stare at me.
Yep.
Like I was just like a ghost in the school, and I was just kind of, and in my head is my Wyandotte mentality is, soon as they say something, I'm hitting somebody. So I'm in my head like I need to just get straight to where I'm going and get back, straight to where I'm going to get back.
Yep.
So when that happened, I went to school and I met everybody, and everybody kind of started learning me, and I'm trying to adjust to this lifestyle. I'm trying to adjust and not be so aggressive, not to be so quick to react, to be mad, or not just somebody saying something, or trying to adjust to the new rules, trying to adjust to it. But then as I went to do my sophomore year, I started adjusting to everything, and I moved in. Me and my oldest brother was supposed to move out to Atlanta. He was supposed to move to Atlanta in my 10th grade year, and we got up one morning and he said, pack your bags and we gone. I mean, we didn't contact the school. We didn't tell the school, hey, I'm moving. We just got up, put the bags in the car, and boom, we drove to Atlanta. Oh. Got all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, and got there. My brother didn't like the dealership, the job that he wanted. So we got a hotel that night. After we got the hotel, woke up the next morning, drove straight back to Kansas City.
Oh, goodness.
Next day, drove straight back to Kansas City. And as soon as we got back to Kansas City, the house that we had, the house that we had that we just left, we didn't have it anymore. So we had once we pulled up there, we pulled up there and the landlord told us we couldn't go back in or whatever. So my brother grabbed my bags and asked me, where am I going to live?
Wow.
Yeah. And he was like, him and his wife at the time was saying, I think he said he told his wife at the time that I'm going to move in with a friend of mine, which I had no clue about. I didn't even know I was going to be, here's your bags at the curb. I'm moving in with my wife, and go ahead, good luck moving with your friend. Yeah, so my bag's on the curb, he drove off. I'm standing confused.
Oh, what happened after that?
This is 10th grade year. I'm standing confused. So I called a friend of mine, rest in peace, Jermaine. I called him, and he was like, man, you can come stay with me. So I got down there and stayed with him. And
in Wyandotte County?
In Wyandotte, yes. Okay. So mind you, I've been back. I'm adjusting to the Johnson County waves. So now I'm going back to Wyandotte. Now I'm back to Wyandotte, and I'm with my good friend of mine, best friend of mine. Me and him down there being Wyandotte, enjoying it. And it's summertime at this point. It's like right before summer, right before the end of the school year. So he would bring me to school back and forth until school was out. So then him and his mom got into it over something, and she kicked him out. So when she kicked him out, of course, now I'm kicked out.
Right.
So me and him, he had a 4-door box Chevy Caprice. Me and him slept in his car for like 2 weeks. Yeah, on 5th and Quindaro.
Ooh. Ooh.
So we slept in his car, and when his mom went to work, we would go to her house, and his sisters would let us in so we could take a shower. Yeah. So then he worked at Pizza Hut on Johnson Drive, and he got me hired at Pizza Hut. So when the summer came, I used to work open to close at Pizza Hut so that I would have something to do and somewhere to go until it gets dark. So when he after we get off work, my brother had a house in 11th and Parkwood, and down in Parkwood he had a house down there that he was remodeling. So the house was not livable at all. So me and him, he I think it was him or his wife gave us the key for us to go in there. I think he did, gave us the key and told us we can stay there. So the house was abandoned. I mean, the windows was broken. I mean, it was people living down in the basement, homeless people and everything. So we went there every night after we got off work and slept on the floor in the living room. And we used to like sleep arm to arm so that if anybody do anything, touch any one of us, we can both react.
Right.
Because we just sleep. We just go to sleep there, get up, and his mom go to work, call his sister, and then go take a shower and then start our day. And then his mom got the wind that we was doing that, so she kicked him out of that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so after all that happened, a cousin of mine contacted me and said, man, I heard you was sleeping out in the abandoned house in Parkwood. And I'm like, yeah. So he was like, come stay with me. So I moved back out here to Johnson County and moved with him. And he was like, all you got to do is help us pay half of the rent. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm in my head, I'm like, I work at Pizza Hut. I'm like, he ain't going to charge me much. No big deal. I had to pay $700 a month to pay for I had to pay $700 a month to pay for a duplex. The duplex rent was $1,200. I'm paying $700 in a sophomore in high school. I'm trying to play sports. Because I played everything, football, basketball. I didn't know anything about the baseball stuff, but I was real good at sports. I was playing all the time. Right. But when all that happened, I didn't have the stepping stone to continue. So I had to back out of everything so that I could find a source of income to survive and pay this rent. Yeah. So I got in some other trouble trying to pay the rent. Yep. So this guy, I used to work at this place called Towers Dry Cleaners, and I was making like $5.56. It was like $5.75 an hour, and I'm trying to make. I'm going to school full time, and I'm trying to work when I get out of school till close every day so that I could make this so I could pay this $700 rent. Right. So I started falling behind, and then I had to pay for my food, each meal. Every time I ate something there, I had to pay for noodles. I had to pay for 8 hot dogs. I had to pay for that. I had to pay. It was a weird. This is fun. This is family. This is blood. Right. And like I say, like I tell them, I don't take nothing personal because everything that I go through is a lesson learned. It made me become who I am today, and I respect it. I respected the rules. This is your household. This is your rules. I'm with it. It's either I'm going to respect the rules or I'm not going to be here at all. So I respected the rules and I took care of what they asked for. Yeah. So I'm working, trying to make this money to pay the rent, and I started falling behind. So when I started falling behind, I said, I got to do what I got to do to survive. So I started taking money. I started stealing money from the Towers Dry Cleaners. Yeah. So long story short, I got caught. Yep. And I got caught, and the CEO came down and he talked to me and he said, I want to know, why did you steal from me? And I said, at first I was like, I'm not telling him nothing. He the police. He gonna take me to jail. Right. So I told him, if you're gonna take me to jail, come on, let's go ahead and get it over with because I'm caught. And at this point, I don't have nothing to lose. I don't have a parent. I don't have a father. I never had a father in my life. I lost my mom. I lost everything. So at this point, I didn't have a car. I was just walking from here, getting a ride to school. And at this point, I'm like, it is what it is. So if I'm going to go to jail, let's go. So he said, I just want you to write down on this piece of paper the reason why you done it. So I was 150% honest. I wrote every reason, everything down in this paper. Right. And then he came back and said, you know what? After reading your reason, I don't want to send you to jail. Right. He said, but what I do want to know is how you going to pay me my money back. So he told me I told him whatever I got to do to pay it back. And he said, you ain't gonna have a job because you're finna lose this job. He said, the only thing I need you to do is write on this piece of paper that you will not steal, you will not rob, you will not hurt nobody, you will not sell drugs, you will not do nothing you're not supposed to do to give me my money. And he said, I'm not giving you a time frame. He said, I'm gonna give you the rest of your life to pay me my money.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said, all I need you to do is every month you send me whatever you can afford. He said, if it's 1 penny, send me 1 penny. If it's $1, send me $1. If it's $100, send me whatever you can afford. A penny is the lowest thing that you can afford, and anybody on this earth can afford a penny. Because you can walk along the sidewalks and pick up a penny. So I said, okay. I said, I made an agreement. I wrote it all down, signed it, and he let me out the back door. He let me out the back door and said, I don't want to never see you. I don't want to see you. All I want is my money every month on time. You miss one payment, you late one payment, you don't contact us. The second you don't do it, I'm turning you in. So from that point on, my mission was to give this man his money back. It was $4,800. So yeah, it took me 4 years. It took me 4 years to pay it back. But I went and I paid everything. The first week I sent him like $10.
Yeah.
The first month I sent him $10. It was times when I did send him $1. Yeah. It was times when I didn't have it because at the time I committed. I won't sell drugs. I won't go rob nobody. I won't go do nothing. And I told myself, I wrote this down for this man and I'm not going to do nothing I said I wasn't going to do.
Right.
So I went there, I did that, and I got all the way through it. The very last payment, he told me, I don't want your last payment to be mailed. I want you to bring it to this address. This is like 4 years later. He said, bring this last payment to this address. I never missed a payment, never late on a payment, sent extra when I could. So he gave me the address and I had to deliver my last payment. So the last payment, when I pulled up, the last payment was at his home. Mm-hmm. I pulled up to his home, and when I came to the door, I rung the doorbell, and his wife answered the door. Mm-hmm. And I'm ready. I'm all like already scared, nervous. I'm like, I'm done with this. I want to hand this man his money, and I want to get out of here. So when I got there, they told me to come sit down at the table. So I sat down at the table, and he was like, all the family knew me, from the wife to the kids. They already knew who I was, knew everything about me, knew everything. They did everything. And when I sat down, first thing his wife said was, I'm proud of you.
Oh, you make me cry.
Yeah, I know it's getting me again every time I tell the story. But wow. She said, I'm proud of you because a young black man like you to come up through all them obstacles that I put in the story and everything, the reason for doing it. And she said, you never missed a payment. You never missed a payment. You called when you couldn't make a payment on time, or you couldn't get it mailed. You didn't have a transportation. You called and you got through all of this. And it was like 4 years. I think it's 4 years. Yeah. And they sat down, they showed me every receipt, every money order statement that I sent. They showed me everything. And I'm getting choked up.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so she said they laid it all on the table, and the family's crying, the wife's crying, the guy, the CEO, he's standing there like he's holding it back. But I mean, we all was in there like a big family crying, and I'm paranoid. I'm ready to get out of there. Right. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling out of place, uncomfortable. I'm ready to go. So he said, I want to offer you all this money back.
Right.
Yeah. He offered it back, and with the type person I am, I refused it. I couldn't take it.
You didn't take it?
No, I couldn't take it. Because the hurt that I caused him and his family, his business, his kids, his wife, I couldn't take it. I refused it. And then he said, well, since you won't take that, I want to offer you to run that store. I couldn't take it.
Didn't do it?
Didn't do it. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. It was I just felt like I've taken from them. So I felt everything that I did, I done what I was supposed to do. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bear it.
So
he was like, okay, well, with you not taking and everything, I want to give you some information. He said, everything you've done, you opened my eyes as an owner, the CEO of a company, that I'm underpaying all of my employees. I was making $5.50 or something an hour. So he raised the pay to $9 an hour. Yeah, $9 an hour. And he's bumping everybody up. And he said, if I'm ever in need of a job or anything, feel free to call him, and I will always have his 100% support.
Here, that's deep.
Yeah.
Here is the lesson I learned out of that. You got to tell people. You got to continue to tell people your story.
Yeah.
Is that you have that, yeah, you might get in trouble, but you got to stay true to what you got. Your word is your bond. And what I mean by that is you signed that paper and you said, I don't care. He gave you a lifetime. I don't care if I have to pay him $1 or a penny. I'm not going to sell drugs. I'm not going to do nothing I said I wouldn't do on that paper, and I'm going to pay him off. And God allowed you to get the money from wherever, however, as hard as it was, and you paid him off. And in turn, he wanted to reward you. And you were a man, you were a stand-up man, and said, no, I hurt you. We need you here, because I'm going to tell you this. The Black guys, see, when I was growing up, we didn't really get in trouble that bad when I was younger, younger. We respect our parents. You have a lot of children that are school age, younger, that are very disrespectful. You can't tell them anything. And we try to avoid them from having the hardship that we had, because we had to learn the hard way, but we want to keep you from doing that. And there's a lot of guys, a lot of young boys that we could catch them young, right? Before they get to that age, maybe they don't have a father in their life. Maybe that can't be the excuse, because I didn't have a daddy in my life, that I can't be successful. Look at you.
I met my dad cracking a joke. I met him, I was on 12th and Prospect, me and my wife, on Father's Day. The only picture that I had of him is when he lived in California. He was 18 years old. That's the only picture. Me and my wife was at a payphone. What a coincidence. Our cell phones went dead. Me and my wife at a payphone on 12th and Prospect, and we right at a payphone. There was a guy right in front of us at the gas station putting ice inside of a cooler. And I started laughing. I said, man, I told my wife, I said, that looked like my daddy. And she was like, started laughing. She was talking on the fake payphone and was like, whatever, that ain't him. So I said, I'm going to say his name. And I said his name, and he looked up. On Father's Day.
Crazy.
On Father's Day. And he looked up, and I was like, that's him, that's him. And she looked and was like, stop lying. So I jumped out the car, and I went over there, and I said, do you know who I am? And he looked and was like, you look familiar. And I was like, I told him my name, and he was like, no way. And it was him on Father's Day.
Okay, for the sake of time, we're going to move on, but I'm not going to lose contact, because you got to come. You're on the lineup for the speech.
Yeah, I sure will.
Women, we're going to try to get some of these boys in there too.
I sure will. Give me time and date, and we can make it happen.
We'll make it happen. If you had something to leave with somebody that's struggling in a business, trying to create a business, trying to build their business, but don't have the resources to do that, or don't have somebody guiding them and just trying to put it together and getting frustrated about it, what is your advice to someone like that? Because if anybody can tell them, it would be you.
Right. I brought on a partner of mine, a friend of mine, to help join the brand, to kind of help push it and kind of help work with me. But if anybody that's trying to start a brand, I always say, never give up. Don't, and what I've learned is, I follow Damon John, I think his name Damon John with FUBU. One of the biggest things he always said is, don't follow celebrities. He said, don't follow celebrities, because if you follow celebrities, it's going to make you feel like you're never going to succeed.
Wow.
Because you're looking at their fame. We're so small on the radar that I won't say we won't never get there, but if you're trying to follow somebody else's fame, every time you see them post money, post cars and all this stuff like that, it kind of discourages you of yourself because you like, I've been doing this for so long and I haven't even made this much money, or I haven't even sold this much product, or I haven't even got this part done on my brand, or my website is not good as theirs, or my this is not good as that. Follow your own passion. If this is, everybody's success level is totally different. I mean, my success is not like yours, like no one else's. Mine is what it is. Like I say, my success is succeeding through people. I want people to understand how to love, come together, and live peaceful. That's my level of success. What comes with that is what comes with it. If the brand takes off and I'm making millions, that's what comes with it. It is what it is. Yeah. But that's not my ultimate drive. Living life in a positive way is a lot better than living negative. Even though negative is popular, yeah, but the positivity is so rare, it's hard to get people to think that way. Yeah. But I would just say never give up. Never, ever give up. If anything get in front of you, just understand it's a bump in the road. Push it to the side, fight through it, put a smile on your face, stay positive. Stay positive through every negative situation.
If you can do it, they can do it. If I can do it, if everything and the things that in my past, and I can come back and I can make a comeback, you can make a comeback. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It's what you learn from what you go through.
That's true.
You apply it. So I appreciate this time. People got to have you here to speak, and so they can hear what somebody that really, it's more effective when you've actually gone through it. When I can tell you that I've gone through, I touched that thing, right? I ain't telling you what somebody told me. I'm telling you that I've been there and what I went through to help.
Right.
So I appreciate it. Now, to get out of here, tell everybody where they can find you, all your social media contacts, and about your gear.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. My original page is Jay Davis. My business page is Self-Made Gear. My ladies brand is the Pink Dove Collection on Facebook, Instagram, and then also Twitter. I do Twitter, a little bit of Twitter, and also I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to build and work on a little bit. I'm still learning, but yeah, but you can find me on any other platforms, anywhere. Hashtag Self-Made Gear, hashtag Pink Dove Collection, Facebook. I also have a Positive Circle group on Facebook. So if y'all want to interested, search the Positive Circle. Everything on there is uplifting every morning. I'm always randomly. Like I tell you, I don't wake up every day to say, hey, this is what I want to say. No, I don't always post there. I don't always say anything because I let it come to me. So when it comes to me, it's natural. I don't say, hey, I need to say something today. Nah, when it comes, it comes. So that's how I do it. Everything is raw information.
If it's anything I can help you with, let me know.
Okay.
My channel is Black Is Magazine now. It was Phases the Next Level. You guys, Jay Davis will be a part of the Black Is Magazine that's coming out. It's going to be a holiday edition, and you got to get the edition. You got to follow Jay Davis. If you're about uplifting, if you're about positive, if you need some positive change in your life, go follow Jay Davis. He also has t-shirts. He has swag for sale. So on those social media sites, you'll be able to find his swag that he has. So you guys we need to support each other.
Yes.
Support each other. Because that's how we survive, and we want to see Black businesses grow. And in order to do that, we got to support each other.
Stay positive, live in a positive lanes, put the guns down, y'all. Put the guns down. That's one of my biggest things, y'all.
Absolutely.
Guns are not the problem. The people behind the guns are the problem. TFR2, Think First, React Second, selfmadegearkc.com, the pinkdovecollection.com.
Thank you so much. You guys, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. In the meantime, respect yourself, respect each other, think first, react second. Amen.